Hi, and welcome back to MyExcelOnline.com. Today, we are going to continue in our word series and go over how to write a term paper. Yes, this video is for all you students out there who need help writing that term paper or who may have not used Microsoft Word before to write a term paper, because there are a lot of tools in here that take away a lot of the stress of writing. So for our lesson today, I'm just using a copy of Pride and Prejudice. I had to find something for this lesson today, so this is what I'm going to go with. But hopefully you can see how this applies to any paper you're doing, whether it is for an English class or if it's for a science class. We're going to go over both of those formats today as well. So most of what we want today is going to be over here on the references ribbon. So I'm going to click that, and we're going to go over a lot of your options that you have right here. So when writing a paper, you often need to insert an endnote or a footnote. So say right here on this line, I have a quote from someone, and I want to reference it right away. I'll click my cursor right after the quote and go up here to insert endnote. And a 1 is automatically placed down here. And if I look back to where my mouse was and zoom in right here, you'll see that the endnote was automatically put there. So you can see that the endnote was inserted here, but the information about the endnote is going to be at the very end of the document. So I'm just going to scroll all the way to the end of my document and see the one right here. And now I can type, "This is my end note." You can also insert a footnote. So say after this quote, I wanted to put a footnote and go to insert footnote. And you can see up here, it's a 1, and that footnote goes at the bottom of my page. So I can go down here at the bottom of my page and type, "This is my footnote." So the difference between a footnote and an endnote is the footnote is going to appear on the same page, and the endnote is going to appear at the very end of the report. Next comes one of the most helpful things in Microsoft Word when writing a term paper. Under here, you have a couple options for style, and you can use APA, Chicago, MLA, and several other styles, but usually a good general rule is APA format is for more technical papers like scientific papers, and the MLA format is more for humanities and literature. So say that this is a literature paper, since it is Pride and Prejudice. If you go down here to MLA and I click Bibliography, insert bibliography, I will see that I don't have anything in my bibliography yet. So I can close that window and go here to insert citation and add new source. And this is the part that makes writing your bibliography so easy, because it tells you everything that's needed for your bibliography. So my author, I'm just going to write author, and my title, I'm going to write title, etc. for the rest of these, just so that you can quickly see where these elements go from the citation to the bottom of your bibliography. And up here, I have different sources that I can pick, whether it's a book, a journal article, a report, and I think if I scroll down, I can even get a website, and I bet a lot of you are getting information from the web. So let's do one book, and I'm going to say OK, and then I'm going to insert another citation by going to add new source. And this time I'm going to pick a website, and I'm going to fill in all of these fields with generic information so you can see how it transcribes. And then I'm going to click OK. So now that I have put in all of my citations, if I go to the bottom of my report and I click down here, I can go to Bibliography and hit Insert Bibliography. And you can see that all of my sources have already been automatically entered. So you don't have to worry about what order do I have to put these in? Oh, what comes first? Is it the author? Is it the publisher? I can't remember. Word does it for you. If you need to add in more sources, you can go up here to Manage Sources, and you can see the sources that you have already entered. Here's my book that I have entered, and over here is the website that I have entered. And here's the information. And if I need to change the information on those, I can go to Edit and change the information that I entered previously. I can also get a preview of what it's going to look like down here. So I'm going to highlight the bibliography and just delete it. And this time, let's try putting in an APA format bibliography. So if I go up here to Style, and I change this to APA, and I go down here to Bibliography, and I say Insert Bibliography, you can see down here that my bibliography now is a little bit different, and it's in APA format instead of MLA. If you are liking this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to get new weekly Microsoft Office tips. Next, I want to insert a table of contents, but before I insert the table of contents, I have to format what I want to appear in my table of contents. So I need to change some of my font on the screen. So I'm going to go back to the Home tab, and I'm going to look here at the styles. So right now, everything is in a style called normal. That means it's not going to appear in your table of contents. But if I scroll through here, I can see that there's different kinds of styles that I can use. So for Pride and Prejudice, I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to make it a title, because it really is the title of my paper. And then I'm going to go to each one of my chapters, and I'm going to highlight the chapter and go up here and scroll up and make them each a heading 1. So I'm going to do that for chapter 1, for chapter 2, and for chapter 3. So you can see right here that my title and its font looks a little bit different than my chapter font, which also looks a little bit different than my regular text. So that's going to stand out a little bit on your term paper. So when I go back to references, and I would like to put my table of contents before the title of my paper. So I'm going to click before that and just hit Control Enter. And what Control Enter does is it allows me to insert a page above my text. So I'm going to go up to the page above my text, and I'm going to go to Table of Contents, and I'm going to go down here and make an automatic table of contents. And you can see that my table of contents includes all of the fonts that I made a heading 1. So if I go back to home, remember these styles up here, heading 1. But for my title, if I scroll down, my title font just changed. But what if, I know this is a book, but what if you're writing a paper and you have a subsection down here and you want this to say Part A, and you have another subsection down here and you want that to say Part B. So what I can do is I can take my Part B and I can make this a heading 2, and I can go up here to my Part A and I can also make that a heading 2. When I go back to my references, I can hit Update Table, and it will ask, do I want to update page numbers only or update the entire table? I'm going to update the entire table because I added some sections to it, and then I'm going to click OK. And if I scroll back to the top, you can see now that Part A and Part B have been indented, and it shows me where the page numbers are. But better than that, if I go to Chapter 2 and I hold down the Control button, you can see that my mouse turns to this hand. If I click on that, I will go straight to that part of my document. So if you've been working on a really long term paper and you have a table of contents, you can just go back up to the table of contents, hold down the Control button, and click on the chapter, and you will be taken right to that space in your document. And finally, the last thing I want to show you is the Review tab. Last week in our Introduction to Word, I showed you that you could use a thesaurus. So in order to use a thesaurus, I can double click any words, pretend I don't like satisfactory and I'd like to use a better word. If I click thesaurus, over here on the right, it will give me words that I can replace. So say I'd rather use the word pleasing. I can select this down arrow right here and go to Insert. And you see over here that it replaced the word satisfactory with pleasing. I can also get a word count of how many words are on my paper, but I can also look down here on the bottom left and see how many words are currently in the paper. And one more thing, don't forget before you turn in any paper to go to the Home tab. Go over here to Editor, and this will go through and correct not only your spelling, but also your grammar. And you can see right now that this paper has a 69%, but it's expecting this paper not to be a copy of Pride and Prejudice, but it's expecting it to be a formal writing paper. I have some options down here. I can do formal. I can also do casual. So say you were writing a personal essay, that's a little more casual than a formal paper would be. So you have some options down here, but I'm going to go back to formal, and I'm going to look down here and I can see that I have 51 spelling errors. But also if I look at my paper, anything underlined in red is a spelling error. And when I'm looking over here, I can see that I've copied an English written paper in Pride and Prejudice, and it's not understanding the American spelling, so I'm getting a lot of errors from that. Also, if I go down here to grammar, there's 26 grammar errors, and I can see those by what's underlined in the dotted blue or the solid double underlined blue down here, and I can just click on there and see what my grammar errors are and go through them one by using these arrow keys up here. Same with my spelling. If I click on the spelling, I can go through one by one with these arrow keys, and I can also go back. So don't forget to check that before you turn in your paper. So in review today, we went over how to create endnotes and footnotes, how to make a bibliography or your references depending on what style of paper you're writing. We went over building a table of contents, some of the options on the Review tab, and also don't forget your spelling and grammar check. Hopefully this was helpful to you, and good luck on that term paper. Hope you get an A. Look forward to seeing you again next time.
If you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're really serious about advancing your Microsoft Excel skills so you can stand out from the crowd and get the jobs, promotions, and pay rises that you deserve, then click up here and join our Academy online course today.